It took me 10 years of working in the chocolate industry to understand that the craftsmanship of chocolate making has a lot to do with the machines. I know, it sounds very weird, it sounds paradoxical, it's an oxymoron. What do you mean? Craftsmanship is all about the talent of the human, the artisanal skills, the craft of creating something special out of nowhere with your bare hands. But it turns out that in craft bean to bar chocolate, the human expertise also includes the talent of handling the machines. I visited many chocolate factories and labs before, but it's only when I started to spend an entire day, 8 hours a day in the same lab, asking the hard questions, looking at the chocolate maker, handling the machines, explaining to me the machines, watching them move around the lab, that I understood something very surprising. The bean to bar machines are not just tools to help the chocolate maker in the craft, but they are a crucial part of the craft. Because if you think that you can buy a melanger, a roaster, a winnower, and just follow the instruction manual, it does not work like that. If that was true, chocolate makers with the same machines would put out the same exact kind of chocolate, which is not true. And this is an interesting point because I remember when it was almost a negative thing that craft chocolate makers all worked on the same machines. But to be honest, it doesn't matter because there are so many variables that craft chocolate makers have control on, both inside and outside the machines. And so everybody gives their own touch to the machine anyway. What I call an intimate relationship between craft chocolate makers and their bean to bar machines starts from the very beginning, from purchasing the machines. Because there are many choices of machines for the same exact chocolate making step. For example, for roasting, you can choose a drum roaster like the ones they use in coffee, a convection oven, a rotary oven, and all of them are going to give you a different and unique way to confer heat to the cacao beans. And that will also give you a different level of temperature control. So you can put the same exact cacao beans following the same exact temperature but in different roasters and you get very different results. Another example is choosing between the slow and steady melanger and the faster and more powerful ball mill. The chocolate coming out of a melanger and the chocolate coming out of a ball mill can look very different. And also, a melanger doesn't really need extra machines because you can put the cacao nibs directly into the melanger, but a ball mill requires another machine that refines the cocoa nibs before you put them into the ball mill, but also a machine after the ball mill like a conch that gets rid of that extra unwanted acidity. And the choice isn't only just about the type of machines, but it's also about the brands. Paquint, FBM Boscolo, Selmi, Pomati, there are so many nowadays. All of them kind of build the same machines, but they build them in their own way. So they're pretty different between one another. A little tip if you're a new craft chocolate maker. From what I see, every chocolate machine brand excels at one or two machines. So it's not really recommended to get a whole production line from the same brand, but you're better off do a deep research, talk to the chocolate makers that use those machines, and then kind of build your own Frankenstein production line with the best machines from different brands. Just my 2 cents. So we can already witness how choosing the machines, both the type and the brand, is only the first step, but it's already shaping the final chocolate. And after purchasing the chocolate machines, there's a second phase of understanding the machines. Because let me tell you, craft bean to bar chocolate machines rarely do what they said they would do on paper. You get the machine, you start using it, expecting a certain performance, but then you realize that reality is kind of different from the instruction manual or the declared amazing features. So there is a phase after purchasing where the craft chocolate maker has to understand what the machine is really capable of in terms of production capacity, speed, time, temperature. For example, melangers are known for declaring a certain production capacity, 35, 50 kilos, but then you have to stay way lower than that if you want a satisfying, decent refinement. Or tempering machines, they're so sensitive that you really need to understand how they perform in your own lab, how long the chocolate really takes to cool down and warm up, all these variables you kind of have to understand for yourself. And you see, the level of understanding of the machines is part of the skills of the chocolate maker, because the deeper you understand how the machine works, the better chocolate you're going to get as a result. Have you ever wondered why so many successful craft chocolate brands are owned or co-founded by engineers? Because they're really fast to understand machines and to make them work really well and really efficiently. But this is not all. After understanding the machines, craft chocolate makers usually take it a step further. They modify the machines to their liking. Again, being an engineer or somebody passionate about repairing and tweaking mechanical stuff is really helpful in chocolate. Of course, there are modifications that are expected, like adjusting the airflow and the blades of the winnower, or adjusting the dosing time of the tempering machine to fit your custom chocolate bar mold. But the pro chocolate makers take it even further. I'm not able to explain you the details, please forgive me, but I've seen timers attached to the machines, extra dispensers that did not really come with the machines, little commands and tweaks to make dealing with the machines faster and easier. And it's still not over, because all these tweaks have to be done for every single cacao origin, because not all beans are the same. So roasting changes, the way you shell the beans change, the way you refine them change, and so on. So after choosing the machines, understanding them, tweaking them, the chocolate makers are also always looking to optimize them day after day, upgrade them, push them to the limits. So you see how an intimate relationship really is created between the craft chocolate makers and their bean-to-bar machines. To the point that some craft chocolate makers also give names to their machines. Have you ever seen them on Instagram where they joke about the fact that they give names to their machines? Well, they aren't crazy. It's just that the machines become very dear companions because you spend so long understanding them and tweaking them and work on them every single day. My point in all of this is that the bean-to-bar machines are a part of the craft. They're not just external tools. And making chocolate is not just about selecting the best beans or choosing the roasting profile. Let me know in the comments if you agree, and I'm really curious to hear your opinion on this dichotomy between craftsmanships and machines, but that seem to make a lot of sense in chocolate making. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye!